welcome to JJS Wildlife. I'm here with a brand new guest, Caesar. I'm your
Caesar.
host, and today I'll be talking more about JJS Wildlife. Here in the city of Jiu-Jitsu Shenanigan City, we have many types of JJS players. Albeit, there are different types, from predators and preys. Predators are usually good combatants, or good antagonizers. Prey are usually provokers, or runners. Today I'll be focusing on the preys for today. I want to focus on a certain type of person, a certain type of player of JJS. These are the annoyers. These annoyers are usually the ones that provoke or antagonize. They like antagonizing in various forms, albeit each one is unique to the last. Now come along as I discuss more. JJS comes in many forms where players always decide to do new things, albeit these players always come up with something different. Now, these runners, or antagonizers, or annoyers, they come in many forms. Some more tamer than others, some names more aggressive than others. Annoyers will always be ready to strike at the most inconvenient moment possible for the player. The player could usually be in a close 1v1 or in a group fighting session. Usually, these annoyers will always jump in at the perfect time where they'll hit you instead of the other opponent, causing you to get stunned. However, by a grace of JJS and its functionalities, it always causes for the fact that runners, always when they hit you, you never get a burst. Look at that over there. Quite the specimen indeed. Come along now. JJS players are very unique creatures. Now, I want to delve a little more into these creatures. We come to a grounding point where these JJS players tend to come with a microphone. These JJS players, the annoyers, will always make sure to annoy the player, either verbally or in game physically. While it's many ways that they can annoy you, you must not fall into their trap. These traps are their ways to catch their prey. They will annoy you and make sure that you get a response. They want this response because they feed off it. They feed off it because it is their way of gaining nutrients. So from this, they will do any method possible in order to annoy the player. From using the megaphone to talking in VC. These players are unique in their ways of annoying players. So, albeit, I would like to discuss more about this. So, we have a prime example here. This here is what we call an antagonizer. He displays many forms of annoyance. One example is the megaphone. You can see here that he has many ways that he likes to provoke. His favorite is the megaphone. But every annoyer comes with its weakness. This one here, while annoying as can be, lacks skill and sufficiency in combat. You can easily expect these players to struggle in combat for the fact that they do whatever they can to get under the skin of their prey. An example we look at is a megaphone. They like to annoy the person by making them rehear their voice because it is very irritating. But come along now as I discuss more ways that we can counter these.
Go, 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 go. Catch up, catch up.
So these players, while they're very, very intriguing, they can be quite annoying too. Now, I'd like to mention once again our guest, Caesar.
Yup.
Caesar here will be explaining a little more about these JJS players. Tell me, Caesar, what kind of players have you encountered in these wild JJS cities?
I countered a bunch of teamers, bunch of these people, noise,
Mm.
third partiers, from out of nowhere,
Mhm. Yes,
and
he's correct.
people. They ult and then they kill you.
Yes.
They grind
We can
ults.
look at the example that these players here, as Caesar has mentioned, Caesar's mentioned the very few that we don't commonly see. These types are third partiers, ulters, runners, and third partiers, as I mentioned again. Third partiers are the most common types. Ulters, these are a rare kind, but nonetheless still quite irritating. How they work is quite self-explanatory. You could be fighting them, but however, just before successfully winning in a fight, they will do one of the two things. They will continue running until they regenerate, or they will pop ultimate. This ultimate is usually by the looks of this. This is an ultimate. These players will pop these in order to gain special abilities, like so.
He gets them all.
These abilities are easy to get kills, and easy to kill big groups, of course depending on the character you're playing as each one is unique to the own. Now come along as we take you to the domain.
領域展開
This is Gojo's domain, or the Honored One. The Honored One's domain comes with a unique ability, where it stuns all the other people within the domain and allows the caster to move around freely, attack, and such. This domain usually is a great provoker for these types of players. How so? Usually, if you get caught in one of these, it is a guaranteed chance that you will not come out alive. However,
Now,
these players that you are captured in here will boast about it and usually say following lines such as easy, which is E and a Z, or they will continue talking smack, saying that you are garbage or bad at the game. Now, Caesar,
there's
anything more
other
you'd like to say?
ups, like Sukuna.
This one here is Sukuna, or in the game, Vessel. Vessel, unlike Gojo, also has its domain. Please, show us our domain.
Alright. Wait, let me show you
This
the
domain
moves.
is different.
領域展開
This is Sukuna's domain. For it to counteract, you simply have to hold block. The hold block is pretty self-explanatory. Holding the F key, you'll be able to block. Holding block is the necessity to surviving this domain. Now, surviving this domain is quite the hassle, as any players at the time can do many forms of aggression, such as a
this
black
one.
flash. This here is the fire arrow. As you can see, it is a great AoE attack, and that this AoE attack can usually differ, such as it can be used in large groups, small groups, or even just a singular person. You can expect these players to always come back for more, as they always want the attention. You can call these thrill seekers.
Action!
Welcome back to JJS Wildlife. JJS Wildlife, while increasingly growing more exotic by the day, is nonetheless dangerous. I'd like to give you another example, as I've mentioned earlier before a small intermission. Thrill seekers. Thrill seekers. These players here, usually, albeit alone, sometimes can come in groups. These, while not hostile, are quite easily agitatable as well. These usually come in many forms, either VC or chat. You can commonly find them in chat. Chat is nonetheless a very toxic environment. You can expect many heinous things to be said from these chats. We can look at a few examples of the chats, such as many trash talkings, toxicity, and albeit a more prime example, personal information. It's a rare occurrence, but it is still an occurrence in JJS.
Quick side note, but very rare. There can also include accusations of pedophilia.
That is correct. It's nonetheless not a great sight, but it is one that is common in JJS. You can expect these to occur in moments of voice chat. Voice chat, while you can use to communicate with friends or foes, it is more commonly used against foes. You've got to be careful in voice chat, as examples can be, if you are more of the mature side, be very careful of your words. You have to be very careful of these words, as there are these groups we call minors. You gotta be very careful around these, and we have to also watch out for them. Make sure they are safe, because we do not want any, and I repeat, any, to be under any danger of pedophilia. Now, back to thrill seekers. Thrill seekers. They are big altar users. A common one we can look at is Megumi, or in the game as it's called, 10 Shadows. 10 Shadows comes in a great form of many moves when using his ult. A prime example we can look at is the Snake. The Snake is quite the, let's say, quite the group gatherer. The Snake uses its maw, or jaw, to grab its enemies. Grabbing its enemies, it not only holds them, but increases its duration that the Snake will be used for every grab of a player, or resets its timer. Usually, these thrill seekers will grab many groups of players, usually groups of friends, and usually throw them off the map. However, they will not only just throw people off the map, they will try to do the best way to only throw the enemies off and not themselves. We can see these examples on the corners of maps. We have to look at these examples from many players. We can see many examples of usually singles. These singles will always try to grab groups of people to throw them off the map. While we don't understand their intentions necessarily, we do understand that they cannot get enough of it. Why do they do this? Well, like I've mentioned, these thrill seekers are in for the thrill of it. However, you can easily be able to counteract these thrill seekers by doing the following: ignoring, fighting back, but depends. Be using cautious when fighting back. Fighting back can be a gamble. A gamble in the terms of whether they will fight back and you will win, or fight back and they will run. You can expect that these chances are random and can be occurred at any given point. Now, I do not want to be the bringer of bad news, but these thrill seekers, while they can come in a form of aggression, they too can be very, very passive. Now, on a side note, I would like to mention passiveness. Passiveness is a great stunt in this game to bring aggression or agitation in players. You can see that these players, while you are passive, they are very rarely passive. Oh, sorry, not passive. Passive is more of the occurrence. You can get confused easily, as they usually passive players fight aggressively but play passively. These are what we call hybrid players. They move in a different sense of motion. Now, come along now as we move farther out. We have more to do and discuss outside. Now, the JJS train station, a common place where wars can occur. These wars have many range of players. You can expect the average JJS players fighting here, or groups of friends. Sometimes even truces can occur here. These truces can be formed within randoms. Usually, you can expect cosplayers to group up. Cosplayers can be from any form or genre, from animes to video games to even just categories, such as stands of formats, such as a group of noobs, a group of guests, or even a group of patterns. Now, come along as we enter the JJS train station. The JJS train station, it is a wonderful place, I would say. Great momentum to have great incidents occur. You have two options here: communicate with the public, whoever's in the train station, or summon the train to attack. Now, our guest Caesar here will demonstrate the train. You will call for the train on the right side, and that will announce it.
The city train has arrived on platform
Oh,
1.
I'm cooked.
Now, the train, albeit very fast, is not an instant kill. It will leave the victim very short health. You can look at maybe 20, 10%. This is a very good method to clear out the train station, as many fights or wars lead up to the train station. However, you gotta be cautious as well, because being held on the train station while not knowing if the train is available or not can lead both a risk to you and your foe. However, it can also be an ally. If you have communication, you can time it right where you can communicate with your friend to summon the train at the perfect moment. If your enemy does not have his burst lets him escape combos. You can time these combos correctly when you can throw your foe into these trains and secure a kill. But be wary that accidentally messing up could lead to drastic punishments. Now, I am your host, and here's my guest, Caesar.
Caesar.
Now, I want to wrap this up by mentioning a few more words. JJS is an extraordinary little place, very magical one indeed. Various people you meet, interesting folk indeed. You encounter various people. These people can vary from
Guys.
friends, enemies, to even foes of enemies. Anyways, Caesar, have anything more you want to say to the guests?
Try to have fun. I know it's like a bunch of griefers, but try to have fun.
Exactly.
We do cool stuff with it.
Exactly. JJS, well, it is a very brutal game in terms of its community. Still, you can expect to have lots of fun in it. Expect to find people who are relaxing, chill.
Oh my god.
You can expect people that well, at times, be a bit silly, but nothing too serious. Remember this though, that you can always find fun in JJS. If it is good, bad, or just downright awful. But don't forget one thing. JJS, it is a magical place, but JJS Wildlife is another place. Remember,
It's
fight
like
well, live in JJS freely, and remember, stay shenanigans, folks.
we will have
Quick side
next.
note, our reporter here, he has a lot of crash outs in this game. Hey, what's up? So, here's a quick cameo. I'd like to talk about my species, emoters. They're kind of uncommon, but you can see them regularly. How would I explain this? Usually, emoters, they're kind of passive, but they're very vulnerable to attacks. They usually do this to either chill with people, or just taunt people, or just to test out their new emotes. But this is kind of annoying because usually common emoters, whenever they get their emote interrupted, they will kill you. They will definitely try and kill you, and definitely be toxic to you at the end. But thankfully, I'm not one of them. Unless they're my friend. I hate my friend.
And that's the JJK Doctrine.